Welcome to BizWack. Brought to you by Hugh Hamilton Leadership Group. Featuring Kim McLandress from Simpson Notaries. Here we are, BizWack. I'm Hugh. This is Tyler, and our guest today is Kim. How are you doing today, Kim?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Kim McLandress.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
So what are you up to now?
Well, these days I am a staff notary at Simpson Notaries. I curl in my off time. I play soccer, have a couple dogs.
This is great.
Partner, volunteering. Yeah, lots going on, but love that.
Kim plays on my wife's soccer team.
Are you a striker?
Once in a while.
You're like a midfielder?
Yeah.
You like to run?
Yeah.
And then Simpson's Notaries, they've been around forever, haven't they?
Yeah, it's been, I think, 54 years.
Wow.
Started, Bob Simpson was the founder and brought on his son, Dean, and then his son, Scott. And yeah, it's been a staple in the Chilliwack community for a long time, for sure.
And can you tell us about a day in the life of a notary? What do you do there?
Yeah, so a lot of conveyancing. So we do a lot of real estate transactions, conveying the land between a seller and a buyer, or dealing with mortgages, refinances. We deal with all the legal paperwork for that. We also do a lot of estate planning. So wills, powers of attorney, representation agreements. That's kind of the two main areas. And then we also do notarizations for people that need declarations signed or sworn affidavits, certified copies of original documents, that kind of thing.
So you're dealing with people's like personal investments, personal lives, personal futures and everything. That's got to be something that really hits home and special to you.
It is. And I think being able to help somebody through, like we're talking about some of the most important transactions in these people's lives, buying a house, doing a will, planning for your family. It's pretty special. And being able to guide somebody through that is a great feeling for sure.
And what made you get into that in the first place?
It was kind of it happened very randomly, to be honest. I met with Scott Simpson one day after Rotary. We've been in the same, I joined the Mount Sham Rotary Club in 2010. And I met with him one day for coffee after Rotary about 2014, 2015, I guess. And we started chatting, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was kind of looking for a change in career. And he said, "You should be a notary." And I was kind of... okay. I had been to the notary before, of course, but didn't really know what that all entailed as far as what the day in the life of. So I went to the office and observed a little bit and ended up going back to school. Fast forward to 2018, I was commissioned as a notary. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That was my question. So, I mean, we're going to get into your degrees and your prior work experience and stuff like that. But what is the process of getting to be a certified notary? So
in BC, you have to have an undergrad. No specifics there, but you have to have an undergraduate degree. And then it's a master's program through SFU, and then a practical component through the Notary Society, and then a bit of an articling kind of mentorship position as well. So it's a 2-year process, getting your master's and then the practical part.
And then you get your stamp,
and
right?
then you get your stamp and your seal and get, you're in front of the judge, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a pretty amazing experience. Like you get sworn in as a notary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, a lot you got to learn too. Must be.
Yeah, a huge learning curve. I mean, again, in BC, notaries are a little bit different. We're able to practice law in the 3 areas that we've been commissioned to do so, being estates and contracts and property law. So there's a lot to it. A lot of other places in Canada and the U.S., notaries are commissioners, so they're able to witness signatures, but they're not able to practice or give any legal advice. So,
okay.
Yeah, it was...
Wow.
Well, and then you're from Grand Prairie, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what initially brought you to the WAC? And What kept you here?
Yeah, I was, so I moved to Calgary for my first year. I wanted to get involved with criminal justice. So I moved to Calgary to go to Mount Royal and in the criminology department there. I met a professor who was from Abbotsford. He was teaching on a concept called restorative justice.
Right.
And after class, I went up to him and I just said, how do I get involved in this? I need to get involved in this. And he said, you move to Abbotsford.
Okay.
I said, okay. So the next year I moved to Abbotsford and finished my degree, my criminal justice degree at UCFE at the time, UFE now, and started volunteering right away with Chilliwack Restorative Justice. So the idea behind coming out here was that all new concepts sort of come down from the coast, California, and make their way down to BC, which is why he suggested coming out here as opposed to, he thought it would take a little while for restorative justice to take off in Alberta. So,
okay.
So, yeah.
So it was restorative justice that interested you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And why is that? What was interesting about that?
Yeah, I was a victim of a crime when I was 16, and it was more of a property, crime, but I felt really violated and ended up going through the court system and didn't feel any, I guess, justice, so to speak. And when I learned about restorative justice, the fact that, the victim gets a voice and being able to meet with that person and that did the harm and talk about how that has affected you, I just really hit home, and I thought I have to be a part of this for sure. So
16, wow, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's you must love to read. There was a lot of reading. I remember taking law class in high school. It was a lot of reading.
Yes, yeah, avid reader for sure. Mm-hmm.
Do you love to read, Tyler?
No, I don't. I'm more of a listener. Yeah, I'm more of a, give me some podcasts to listen to. But picking up a book's not really my thing. I think I've admitted that already on the show, though. I'm not really a reader. I can read. My wife would say I can't spell that good. That's probably true, but...
So then what'd your family think of you relocating to another province?
Well, my mom was really sad, but they were super supportive, and I couldn't have asked for better. Everybody came out with me, and my cousins brought their horse trailer to move my stuff here, and everyone was super supportive. But of course, sad that I was going to be a little bit further away. Having said that, it wasn't the worst choice.
Right.
It could have been Ontario or even further. So it was, they got to come here a lot and still spend a lot of time here. So
nice.
Good.
So you volunteered there, restorative justice, and then you stayed to become executive director.
Yeah. So I spent 13 years between my practicum, like volunteering as a practicum student, and becoming, program coordinator and working my way into the executive director role.
ED.
So 13 years. And then I stayed on for about a year after, just on the board to help with the transition. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved it.
And then back to school for another master's.
Yeah, I went back to school for my first master's in 2009 while I was with restorative justice. Mm-hmm. So, I guess I do like to read, a sucker for punishment.
No doubt.
Got my master's, my first master's through UFE. We were the guinea pigs in the master's program there at UFE in criminal justice. So I did that and then went back to school again for the second master's to become notary.
That's amazing.
Bananas.
It's bananas. So you said you were the guinea pig, the first class going through. Yeah. What was like that? Was that a success? Did you look back on it and you're like, hey, this was good, this was positive, I took away a lot? Or did you think that there was room for improvement? What was your overall feel and experience with being the first to go through that master's program?
Yeah, I think it was really well done. The instructors who they chose to, take that first cohort through they're amazing professors, UFE professional organization, and they put a lot into it, and I think that it was very well done. Yeah,
I've only heard good things about UFE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing bad to say for sure.
Nice. And then they have campuses, Abbotsford, Chilliwack, right? Mm-hmm. So you were in both?
So I was in Abbotsford. I lived in Abbotsford, and I was mainly in Abbotsford, but Chilliwack Restorative Justice was my connection to Chilliwack.
Right.
So I came out here a lot for volunteering, met a lot of people within the community throughout that time. So moving out to Chilliwack was a no-brainer because it pretty much felt like home, even though I was living in Abbotsford at the time. Yeah.
And you spend a lot of time in Abbotsford. I don't.
I do,
I'm new
yeah.
to Chilliwack. So what's better, the Wack or Abbotsford?
I think for me, it was the Wack. Just the people. There's
Agreed.
something about this community that you just instantly feel welcomed. And
Right.
for that reason, mainly the people here.
And you do, I'm glad you segued into that and mentioned community, because that was the whole idea for the podcast. Like, what is it about this community that's unique? And you do a ton of work in the community, volunteering. And how did that come about? Like, why do you do that? Why is that so important to you?
I think initially, I was in my early 20s when I was working with restorative justice, and I got to meet with a lot of different community groups because, of course, we needed support, whether it was community service hours, volunteers. We started the Operation Red Nose program, resources for youth as far as counseling. And I was always meeting with tons of different groups and people within the community, and was wowed every time I was at a meeting, and just always inspired and wanting to be better, be a better leader, contribute more, just because of that sense that I was getting. Everybody around me was really just truly amazing. And Chilliwack, everyone loves Chilliwack. I didn't have a negative experience when I was meeting.
That's always the positive feedback we get when we go down the community road here on the podcast. I appreciate that. I have here a member of the Citizens Advisory Committee.
Yeah, what is
that? Is like exactly. What is that? Please, fill us in.
So that was something that was started at the Community Correctional Center on Rowett Ave. For offenders transitioning out of the prison system, and then coming into the community with conditions for their probation, parole, that kind of thing. So the Citizens Advisory Committee was set up to meet with probation officers and corrections officers within the facility to figure out whether certain offenders were ready for whether to spend more time in the community, day passes, long-term passes, that kind of thing, just to give a citizen's perspective and be transparent to what they were doing with the offenders in that institution there.
Now, is that so you were a part of the voting group? Was it literally a voting group where you guys would hear this person? Would they just come in front of you guys as a group and give you their testimony of who, what, and why? And
yeah. Sometimes a mixture. So sometimes it was the person themselves. Sometimes it was their parole officer, for example, speaking on their behalf, depending on the situation. But they really wanted to, Mike Choka, which I'm sure he's come up as some of the podcasts, but he's a leader. He was at the institution there, and he really wanted to, again, just have that transparency where we're not just operating in a silo and all the corrections officers making all the decisions. They wanted to be open to community members to have an opinion, or at least be aware of what was happening there.
So what kind of things would resonate with that, the Citizens Committee? Like what is it that person would say that would make you decide that they should be back in the community?
Yeah, I think it was a mixture between what they had to say, what type of steps they'd been taking, if they had addiction issues, if that was one of the things that led to their crimes, that they were, overcoming that in treatment, continuing counseling. So where they were coming from, what they've done to make reparation for themselves or to the victims, again, depending, every case was slightly different. And then what their parole officer had to say as well with their progress and how they were contributing or not to their treatment plan, so to speak.
Would you get an information package on them? Yeah. Okay. So you would get that. And then I'm kind of stuck on this point because it's very intriguing to me because it's a powerful position and you have to surround yourself with like-minded people. You mentioned Mike Choka, right? That's another name. Maybe we should get him on the podcast, Hugh. That's so. How many people would be voting? I guess that's kind of to shore that up because I'm just trying to wrap my head around the whole situation.
Yeah, so typically in the circle, there'd be 3 citizens.
Okay.
And then again, probation officers and the correctional officers would be there as well.
Wow. Yeah, they always have to be an odd number if we're voting, right? So that's awesome. That's very intriguing to me. Especially just intrigued with the law system and the whole steps of parole and everything. That's amazing. Good for you. And that's behind you, or you still?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a neat experience, something very different. And each of because there's quite a few institutions and prisons out here, as you know. Each one had the similar citizens advisory type of things set up. So it was good.
Nice. And then you got involved with Rotary, and then you've been there quite some time.
Yes.
You were president, but I know now you do a lot of the work. You're secretary, is that your title?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for our Rotary Club, I'm currently the secretary.
Which day do you guys meet?
Thursday mornings, 7 a.m., bright and
wow. early. Do you guys eat?
Yeah.
Breakfast?
Yes.
It's good?
Yeah.
Is it always random?
Pretty much, yeah. The curling club, we meet there, so
we had our
make us a
Hofstad
buffet.
staff party. It was very nice food there. It's really nice, and we'll get to the curling club, but we'll stay on the Rotary.
Sure.
So you went from president to secretary. It's kind of like when you're president, there's lots of people going in and out, right? It's not like someone that they want people to take that lead, right?
Yeah, the Rotary. Traditionally, all Rotary around the world, you're president for 1 year.
Right, there you go.
So, yeah, do your term, and then you're, of course, incoming president, past president, and then, lots of other roles, but the president role itself is 1 year.
So how hard is it to juggle, because being a notary, very detailed work, must be very busy, your personal life as well, but then also the Rotary. How tough is that?
I think it just makes me do better, busier.
Does it?
I think makes me more productive. I find that if there's any slowed times at work, that the busier the better. I feel like you get a lot more done and just go.
It gives you something to look forward to. You're like, every Thursday I got to be up, I got to be out there for breakfast. Which day do Hugh's a Rotary guy? When are you going to be president? Should we start a campaign on BizWack? Okay.
No.
Okay. That's
Let's
funny.
never do that.
He was just in it for the free food.
Yeah. I love it.
Hugh Hamilton Leadership Group coaches business owners, executives, teams, and we develop leaders. We find out what's important to people, create clear and concise goals, and then execute on that. We make people's lives better. Don't get stuck in the day-to-day. Plus, you're restoring your house.
Yeah. Never a dull moment with a 1970s BC box, as they call them. Yeah, no, I love it. I love seeing the transition between what when we purchased it in 2017 to redoing the backyard and each room on the inside over time and trying to do a lot ourselves. So, I'm hanging drywall from the ceiling.
Nice.
I think it just gives a little bit more meaning when you put the blood, sweat, and tears.
So you bought this house in 2017. You mentioned before we came on trying to do one room a year. Are you on a room right now, or because you mentioned the outside too?
Yeah. So saving the best for last. The kitchen is up in March. So the biggest and best for last.
And you're learning on the fly, or you have a background in that?
Oh, no background.
You have a background in drywall?
No, I have a background in, painting, watching paint dry. No, I'm just kidding. It's, no, I have no background, but my partner, he has some experience. So leaning on that and try to listen and help where I can. And
he's a firefighter, right?
He's a volunteer firefighter with Chilliwack River Valley, and but his main job is construction, so finishing carpentry. Mostly.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're hanging drywall, he's just like, hold this, honey.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you get the screw in.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Nice. What else you got, buddy?
Well, there's a lot in front of me here, and I'm ready to just start banging around rocks. I'm ready to talk about curling. And it says here the volunteer and also a past president of the Chilliwack Curling Club. Was this before the new or old state of the art facility they built that you were president? Were you president when the old one was around?
Yes, in the old one. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
And how long you been curling for?
I think I started probably been almost 20 years now.
Wow.
Growing up in Northern Alberta, thought I would have done it there.
No?
But I chose to. I was just, again, looking through the Chilliwack paper one day. I was house sitting out here for the lady that ran the restorative justice program. I was house sitting for her and looking through the paper, and they offered a Learn to Curl clinic, and I thought I should do that. So I picked it up.
It's tough sport.
You've curled?
Once.
Yeah.
Once. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you the skip on your team? And you playing on a mixed team, a female team, and what nights do you play on?
Yeah, so I've been a bit of both. So I curled competitively 2013, went to the BC Scotties.
Wow.
That was women. So I was curling second at that point. And then, but my club teams, the women's ladies league, Monday nights, I would typically skip mixed curling. We went to provincials, we bronze medal, typically playing.
You're really good. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I took a few years off. This is my first year back in a few years since COVID. So I've taken a bit of a break and just got back into it now, but enjoy it. And again, the people, I can't say enough about the curlers in Chilliwack.
It's huge out here. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
when I moved
the
out.
social aspect of curling. Are you drinking beer after?
On the ice.
On the ice,
Yeah, they're allowed to.
There's no drinking beer during pickleball. This guy's a big pickleball. Hold on, guys. Let me have a shot. And
I'm not going to get into curling.
it's fun. I always pictured myself, but you have to have the right team, right? You really do.
Yeah.
I like visiting curling clubs. Like it's like Canadiana 1970s.
Yes.
I was surprised Chilliwack, the brand new curling center, but every other community, it's like going back in time.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it has this certain smell of ice and beer and old wood. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's a lot of old curling clubs back in Ontario where I was from as well too.
I used to go in New West to the roller derby, if you can believe that, and that was at the curling club.
Wow.
Like
That
the
was good
stuff
fun.
that was like they would go around and have to pass each other for points and everything.
Yeah.
So good. Love that.
Did you ever do that?
No.
I remember back in like the 80s and stuff. There was on TV Skinny Minnie Miller. Do you remember her?
Yes.
Do you remember her? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
That's funny. So I got to stay on your success that you had in curling. Like, were you on TV then? If you're doing the BC Scotties and winning provincials.
Yeah, so probably only one competition that was televised. So my ladies team, we represented BC in the Travelers Championships at the Hunt Club in Ottawa. And so some of those games were televised, but not on the big stage, so to speak. But a little bit of, they're trying to get the sport out there, which I think is good. And now, once it hit the Olympics, got a lot more notoriety and.
Well, that is there's two
Now
times.
they're in shape too.
Yeah,
all the athletes are.
They're not
They're doing
smoking on the
push-ups
ice
in
anymore.
between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're yelling too. Their vocals are very, yeah. If you ever have a nap on the couch and they accidentally hit the volume button while you're watching women's curling and that
look
wakes
out.
you up. Yeah.
My wife's from Mexico, so when she came here and she saw curling on TV, she had no idea what it was. She thought it was magnets, under tracking. What is this sport?
That'd be useful sometimes.
The strategy of curling is something that gets overlooked a little bit. Like, it is an actual chess match out there.
It is. And I think, when you're doing it, you just do it and you go with it. But I think watching it, it's one of those things that's kind of like, you just smash some rocks and you just heave it down there as hard as you can or do this and that. But I think once people get into it, they definitely have a better appreciation that there's a lot of the strategy and mental game.
Yeah.
involved.
And you're one of those things where you're thinking 2 or 3 shots ahead. Same thing. I quickly.
You sound like a curler. Are you?
No, I watch it. I do watch it. I'm not a curler.
enthusiast?
If there was 3 dudes out there that are moderately good at curling that want to fun guy. Which camera am I looking at? I want a fun guy that is extremely nimble for my size, and I can throw a rock and I can slide. I'm very comfortable. I'm a hockey player, and I will yell as loud as I can as well too. That's
we
a thing.
that.
I will join your curling team.
I wonder if Tim McAlpine, our producer,
Tim,
is a
Tim,
curler.
do you curl at all? Or I guarantee he knows the strategy of curling.
Yeah.
Tim?
We're going to find you a team.
He probably plays chess.
Oh, yeah. It's probably a master.
No, I'm not a curler, but I come from a long line of curlers.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, he comes
father-
from a long line. Yeah.
My
So
father,
Tim
Wayne
McAlpine.
McAlpine, would be very well known to our guest today.
Yes.
I'm
Wow. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
You know his family that's really good
His
at
dad, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, he's always just pulling amazing stuff out of the back room there. We're never sure what he's doing back there, but he's always doing
listening.
good things.
Okay, well, we've beat curling to death.
We've hammered it.
I'm more excited about curling than I was before.
Yeah.
And then I want to get into the next segment that Tyler's going to lead. But I want to ask one question, like, because the work you do in the community is inspiring. Who are your pillars of the community, and who do you think we should have on this show?
Wow, that's a tough question. There's so many people that I'm grateful for. Just again, mostly through Rotary, meeting people. Again, that was back in 2010 when I joined, and
Right.
there's still a lot of those people today that inspire me and that have helped me, and I think encourage me to be a better leader. One being Scott Simpson, which he's
He's
not
a nice
wanting
guy.
me to
I like Scott.
bring him up, but the fact that he's the reason why I'm in this new adventure that I'm in right now. So he's definitely been a kind of a local person that's inspired me a lot and helped me to this day. There's Luke Zacharias is another person from our Rotary Club that, again, as along the way has encouraged me and got me to join the board of community services and just get involved with other organizations that I may or may not have gotten to. And so a couple of them. And
So Luke and Scott,
they've been.
let's get them on the show.
Yeah. We're always looking for someone a tag team duo. Did they work together?
No, so Luke owns Zacharias Vickers law firm, and he's an entrepreneur and has a lot going on. I think he'd be very
A
interesting.
law firm and a notary guy on the same podcast? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, get the banter.
Yeah.
See who has the best jokes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
Are we ready for it?
We're ready for it.
Are we calling it still the 10 and 10-ish, even
10
though
and
there's
10-ish.
11-ish?
Yeah, there's 11 questions.
We did kind of just top in on the one, so that's the one that sometimes stumps people, but we won't get there yet. So BizWack, Kim McLandress from Simpson Notaries, we call this the 10 and 10-ish.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you 10 questions, and you just give us the first thing that comes to your mind. If you get stumped, we'll make
Can I
fun
get
of it.
pass?
No, there's no pass. There's no pass, but there's
No
no
editing.
pass.
Don't name
no
that
pass.
tune. Pass.
BizWack 10 and 10-ish. First question.
And don't be shy about naming people or businesses.
Yeah, we love name drops and business drops. Yeah.
Okay.
Favorite restaurant in Chilliwack?
Frankie's.
That
Frankie's.
comes up all
It
the
has
time.
to be.
We should be eating there every day.
Frankie's should be literally giving us a free meal a week from out of time that gets dropped in here.
Raph has been so supportive
Yeah, I know.
of the
He
community.
rocks.
And I just have to.
He's a great man.
Yeah.
Okay, who's number 2 and 3 then?
Oh, silver and bronze.
So, Bound Stern.
Okay.
Alan Stern, yeah. Still haven't been there.
They're. I've never been disappointed. And then of course Bravo,
Bravo.
their
Nice.
martinis.
That came up
Oh,
too.
martinis.
I'm not a martini guy.
You're not?
What,
Well,
you
what are
will
you
be
doing?
after
What are
you
you
go
doing for a martini?
Just start at the top and
Really? No, I've seen people do that before. I seen one guy do that at that.
I don't think I've
one
ever
Greek
had a
restaurant,
martini.
Greek Islands. Really?
No, never had one.
Well, maybe that's what we should do. And I don't think I have either. I want to go. I've always wanted to go and just order one James Bond style, shaken,
Of
not
course.
stirred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
and then if you don't like that, they have a slew of, fruity martinis, all sour, anything you can ask for. I think the variety is quite astounding.
Okay, Frankie's again.
If you weren't a notary, what would you be doing in Chilliwack?
Probably restorative justice.
Right on.
Yeah. Yeah. It still holds a big piece of my heart.
Nice.
For sure.
That's excellent. One word that describes your leadership style.
Can I say inclusive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. This one we did just kind of touch on. Number 4, 10 and 10-ish. Who inspires you?
But we touched on it. I find it challenging because there are so many people for so many different reasons that inspire me, because this has been such a great place. But I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna say my mom.
Excellent.
Because if everybody had her selfless, caring heart, it'd be a different place, I think.
Is she still in Alberta?
She is. She's here with me right now for a few months during the minus 50, avoiding the weather in northern Alberta. So, but
isn't that nice? You can do that.
So nice. Very special.
Okay, side question here then.
Yeah.
So you said your community work came from being in Chilliwack, but is somehow your mom and her work tied to wanting to give back to the community?
I think actually that part of the giving back to the community came more from my dad. He was involved with, in Alberta, ACT. So it's group of the Associated Canadian Travelers, but similar to the Elks or Rotary, that kind of thing. Always I was working bingo when we were allowed as kids, helping him do bingos and selling raffle tickets, and he was a curler, so always at the curling club helping with stuff there as a kid. So I think that he kind of that definitely came from him a little bit growing up, giving back.
I also work bingos, and I think that's one of the reasons why I have asthma. I don't have asthma, but that was a good joke. Yeah. But sensitivities. You're just in a smoke-filled room when you're 12 years old, running around selling people bingo tickets. We got a good bingo. So true. What's the best way you spend your free time?
Renovating. No, I think a big part for me is giving back to the community. So anytime that I can, I want to.
Volunteering. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Okay, I love this one. Who is your favorite music artist?
Collective Soul.
Whoa. Okay.
90s.
Random.
No, that was good.
I had that CD.
Yeah.
Well, one.
Yeah.
I don't think they have tons of
some
CDs.
about their tone and.
Yeah. I remember last time I listened to a Collective Soul song.
Yeah.
I'm good on the way home.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm
The one big hit. They had one big hit.
Oh, but once you start listening, you'll realize there's more than that one hit.
Yeah, Hugh, they're not a one-hit wonder. Don't just call Collective Soul a one-hit wonder.
Yeah. Okay. Turn on the album 7 Year Itch. You'll know all the songs.
Okay.
7 Year Itch.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're making dinner, what's your go-to?
Tacos.
Yes. Hard or
tacos.
soft?
Hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. See, honey, people like hard tacos.
No, I'm a taco.
They call it the gringo taco in Mexico.
Do they?
Yeah.
Because typical would be the traditional would be the soft, right? The small.
Yeah. The gringo taco. Okay. Favorite setting of nature in Chilliwack?
Favorite setting of nature. Well, I think that I really enjoy being at Townsend Park. Our Rotary Club, during my president year, we gave money and we redid the playground equipment at Townsend. So I always appreciate what the use that's getting, and then being able to play soccer and myself, plus see the ball games and football. There's always something happening
always
there.
lit up.
The
lights are always lit up
as well. So yeah, I like it there.
Oh, that's a really good one.
As a soccer player, the grass is perfect.
It's plush.
Yeah.
Plush.
And they have the trail around for the doggos and the kiddos and stuff too. So a little bit of everything.
That's a really large body of land. As long as the wind's blowing away from the sewage plant, which primarily it is, that's a really good answer, because I drive by there a lot. I played baseball there a lot. I coached football there a lot. The lights are lit up on a warm summer night in Townsend. That was a really good one. One thing you keep putting off. You can't say reno because you're, 9 years into it?
Oh, darn. One thing I keep putting off. Learning to speak Spanish.
Oh,
Yeah.
Espanol. You obviously know some Spanish, right?
Yep.
I've wanted to do it for a long time and just been.
Okay,
kinda
after
putting it
today,
off.
you and I
Okay.
can speak in Spanish.
Perfect.
Really?
Every time I see her.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Okay, I'm in.
At the store, we have a lot of people that come through that are working, and I'm just hit them with like, hey, amigo, and stuff like that. My Spanish is no good.
Right.
How do you say hello in
Hola.
Hola. Yeah.
Hola?
¿Cómo estás?
Yeah.
Gordo.
Cerveza. Right. You only know the ones from traveling.
What does cerveza mean?
Beer.
Oh, yeah. Okay. This is not a question. What type of beer are you drinking on a fun curling club night? What are you going to?
Probably more along the nude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
More of a
The nude vodkas.
or gin.
vodka.
Yeah.
I'm into that black, the black cherry one.
Yeah.
Lots of ice. So yeah, you're not on the. You don't want to be bloated when you're sliding down the ice, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You got.
Okay.
Don't want to be full.
Where do you do your food shopping?
We get produce at Produce Gone Wild typically.
PG Dub.
It's across from work, and they'll
Yeah.
usually put it together, and I can pick it up on the way home, and then a mixture of probably Safeway, Save On,
Right.
depending on what's happening, but try to support local where we can as well. When the summer, when the stands are set up with all
Right.
That's right.
Okay, I got
goodies.
one more side question. So I was impressed when I moved out to Chilliwack and all the independent stores. So is there another one that you go to, whether it be for eggs or jam or bread or
We'll go to Costco. Costco. Hofstad's. Try not to go to Costco.
That's
Oh my
funny.
gosh. Hofstad's again has been
Yeah.
another one and again they've been so supportive, of Rotary and
Right.
and our events, and yeah, they're great.
perfect?
This is the final one, and don't rush into this one, and don't overthink it. One piece of advice, a saying, or an expression that you would want everyone to remember.
A saying or expression. I think just being true to yourself, being a good human, and yeah, take it one day at a time.
I love it.
Nice. Very
I
good.
love it.
Well, thanks very much for coming on,
Thank
Kim.
you.
You're my pillar of the community. I'm glad you came on the show. Thanks for that.
Aw, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you for
this
having
was
me.
this was wonderful. This is what it's all about: is having people like yourself on the show, and we look forward to it, having a lot more like-minded people like yourself. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.